Hey guys, been a while since I've done a movie review, and I've literally just seen The Marvels today, so let's do a little talk about The Marvels. The Marvels is the latest MCU movie. It's effectively the sequel to Captain Marvel, which I did a review of when I watched it, I think. I'll put a link to it somewhere. And I really just wanted to talk a bit about it since I watched the film. I really enjoyed it. It was a good film. Would I say that it's an absolute perfect film? Of course not. There's so many things that could have just elevated it that tiny bit more, and it does kind of fall into the MCU formula trap of being, in some ways, the same film as every other MCU film. Now, does that make it a bad film? No, the MCU is actually full of good films. I really somewhat reluctant about putting this actually up because, of course, discourse is a problem, especially around films that are not cis white straight men focused. God, I'm just tired of that being the default. I am the default. But I really enjoyed the film. It did a lot of good stuff in it. There's some fantastic bits, and I will be talking spoilers basically from now on. The film itself is good. I really enjoyed everything. It was fairly standalone as these things go. You can pick up enough context from everything else to get an idea of what happened in previous things. I haven't watched Secret Invasion yet. That's one of the only two MCU things I haven't watched so far. The other one being Werewolf by Night, but I just haven't gotten round to yet. And I was able to pick up on everything. My wife watched it with me. She picked up on everything that needed to be picked up on. Like, you know, you didn't need to have watched Miss Marvel and WandaVision and other stuff. It's explained enough why things happened the way they did, and it's pretty good. The only one that you kind of did need to have seen was Captain Marvel, as it's technically a sequel to that. But also, at the same time, you didn't really need to because it was explained enough. It did the due diligence that it needed to do, so everyone's saying, oh, I need to have watched all of these other things. No, you don't. Stop being daft. There's some particular highlights that I want to talk about, which is starting with the fact the running of the cats. The running of the Flurkins was perfect. They could not have done that better. It was so good. It was so funny. It was a highlight of the film. Do not run. Get eaten by the cats. I loved the interactions between all of the different characters. There was so much good character work throughout the whole thing. It just worked really well. Like Kamala and Carol and Monica and Kamala's family and Nick Fury. It was so good, and like it was just a really good way of adapting things in together and giving ways of doing things. Like, there's definitely some room for improvement, but it was so good as it was. The villain is probably one of the weaker character villains that they could have done. There was some stuff that they needed to have played around with a bit more to be able to give it more depth, I think. I think we maybe needed to have seen more from Hala and everything before now, and I don't know if Secret Invasion does cover that, but I think that it's difficult to translate the weird history of the Kree and Hala and the Skrulls and Tarnax and everything from the comics into a movie like this, and there's a certain argument that says they probably shouldn't have tried to do it as they did, but I think that they did a pretty good job of it in and of itself, is what I'm gonna say. I think that it's a pretty good one. The villain's plan was not the worst one that we've ever had. It just was a bit of a interesting one to do, and I think that they did a pretty good job. I was really interested that they decided to make the bracelets the quantum bands, which are more associated with Quasar and to a certain extent other Captain Marvel stuff than they are with Miss Marvel and Carol. But being as the new Captain Marvel series of comics that I've got the issue 1 of through there, it explicitly has her being doing that whole shtick again. I think that that's a really cool way of doing things. Oh wait, I was getting the quantum bands mixed up with some cosmic. There's too many bands. There's too many bracelet things that you have to slam together to do stuff. It's weird. But the comics version is definitely different than this, and I think that this did a pretty good version of that. I would have liked some more backstory, but I think that we've got a good point to start from. The training montage between the 3 main characters did a really good job. I think that that was quite fun, and it definitely sort of paid off as they went further into it, and I like it. It's good. Implications for the future regarding, well, let's start with the less interesting one necessarily. Is Kamala and her family just relocating to Louisiana? Because part of her whole identity was that she was based in Jersey. Like, that's so much of a thing. I don't know what that means for the future, but I really think that it has some interesting implications. Will we be seeing, for example, Sam Wilson and his family at some point in their immediate future? Is that going to be a thing? Maybe, we'll see. Now, more interesting is where Monica goes in the post-credits scene. Another universe, right, with another version of her mother as Binary, a traditional Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers identity. She's had too many. Miss Marvel, Binary, Warbird, Captain Marvel. She's on her 4th version, but I think that using Maria as a version of Binary could work pretty well. Be interesting to see what happens as we go into this. I think that it's setting up for Secret Wars and stuff like that, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's so much that they can do with it, and we're gonna be doing stuff. It's gonna be interesting to see where it goes. But more exciting is the fact that we've got a Kelsey Grammer Beast, all CGI, which I wasn't sure about, but it did get the look just as well as the practical stuff did in X-Men Last Stand. So I think that it's got potential, and I'm wondering how that's going to work out. Is Kelsey Grammer actually going to be in the long haul for a bit until we get X-Men properly and we get potentially a different version of Beast? Who knows? I'm interested to see where they go with it. Deadpool 3, roll on! I think that that's all I've got to say at the moment. I really enjoyed the film. It's a good film, and it's got a lot of interesting things to show, and I think that hopefully it doesn't get too badly review bombed and stuff, and people don't start like annoying people again because it was a good film and people are stupid. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this film. I'd love to know, so tell me down there. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you remember to like and share it and subscribe to my channel. Click on the thumbnails over there to see other videos by me, click on the link in the description down below to join my Discord, and I'll see you guys next time.